Hey, it's Rory with SearchEngine.com. Today I want to talk to you about this device. This is the all-new Honor MagicBook 14, and I gotta say, I'm a little bit disappointed. So this is called the Honor MagicBook 14, and although it's called the Honor MagicBook 14, it's actually more of like a successor, or I guess a facelift version of the first Honor MagicBook that we got in Malaysia. I reviewed that device, so you should definitely check that out over here. If you want to know, all the details and nitty-gritty stuff about that laptop, definitely hit up my review. This is not going to be like one of those review videos because I'm just going to go through like what's new with this device and talk about it. Essentially though, it is quite similar, and the story here is kind of weird because this design, this Honor MagicBook 14 is the one that we're supposed to get like in the global market. It's like the first global one because previously Honor MagicBooks were always sold in China. But interestingly, in Malaysia, we actually got one of the older designs but with the modern specs. So this is the modern body with the same kind of specs. So anyway, there are a couple of things that's new with this laptop, and for starters, it's obviously the build, right? So while the old one was this sort of clean, I guess you could almost call it boring design, where it's like just a nice blue color, and I guess it's a bit boring, but you could also fit in like basically any situation, and I didn't mind it at all. Like, it was a work laptop. I treated it as a work laptop, so it looked the part. But this one definitely has a little bit more flair to it. As you can see, it has this light blue sort of chamfer around the top of the lid, and also the Honor logo has that same kind of blue treatment, so it gives it a little bit of pop to stand out from all the silver that is the rest of the laptop. And that's again the other color change, where instead of a dark blue, it is now silver. I'm not that big a fan of the light color, but it doesn't look ugly, so I guess that's okay too. This new body though is also a little bit lighter. This device weighs 1.38 kilograms while the old one weighed 1.45 kilograms, so you're saving about 70 grams in terms of weight, which isn't a whole lot. If you really want like super light stuff, you're gonna go for something that's under 1 kilo. But losing 70 grams is still better than nothing, I guess. I don't really feel like it's a big difference. This still feels like a pretty okay medium weight laptop for its class, so don't expect like it to be significantly lighter. Then if you move on over to the front of the device, you may notice that the keyboard deck now does not have the speakers that are flanking it, so you do not have those like front-facing speaker grills that the old one used to have. But honestly, I don't think that makes a huge difference, because when I thought it would affect sound quality, but when I was using the original MagicBook, I didn't hear, like, the sound didn't sound like it was coming out from the speakers. They looked like fake speakers to me, speaker grills anyway, because most of the audio came out from the speakers at the bottom here. And speaking of speakers, I have to say that this laptop, one nice thing that they kept is the speakers. So the MagicBook 14 still has the excellent speakers that the MagicBook originally had, so I'm very happy to have that here. I mean, it's a really beautiful place. Like, look at all the lanterns being strung up, and there's so many layers, and the view from here is actually just incredible. I could have just done this in the office, but I thought, like, might as well show off. So yeah, it has some really nice speakers, and I'm very happy that they're making a return here. Now moving to the screen, you can tell that the new Honor MagicBook has much slimmer bezels all around. So the top bezel has been shaved down by about half, and the side bezels are also slightly slimmer, which makes the screen look nicer. But that also means that you no longer have the camera up top. The webcam is no longer here. Instead, the camera is in the middle of the keyboard, like some modern Huawei devices. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this because the angle, it just is looking up your nose, and then there is no way that you can get Windows Hello facial recognition. But I guess the good thing is they did keep the fingerprint scanner, which is still built into the power button, so I guess you can still use that. Though, like I said in my review, I would have liked to see Windows Hello support. I think that that's my preferred way of logging into my laptop. And now the final difference with the MagicBook 14 versus the MagicBook is that, interestingly, this laptop has a slightly smaller battery. So the MagicBook 14 has a 56 watt-hour battery, while the MagicBook had a 57.4 watt-hour battery. I don't think it makes a huge difference, but it is smaller, and that probably did contribute to like the little bit of weight loss. Besides that though, the laptop is pretty similar to the predecessor. So this device is powered by the Ryzen 5 3500U processor. It also has the same kind of SSD storage and RAM as its predecessor, and it also has the same 14-inch Full HD screen. So it's a Full HD panel, it's an IPS panel, and it has this sort of matte coating on the top to sort of reduce glare. It, again, you know, it looks like an okay screen, but I wouldn't say that it's like a really good screen or even like a good screen. It does not look super color accurate to me, so I wouldn't trust it for color work, but you know, that's just, you know, based on what I'm seeing from my eyes. On top of that, it also retains the MagicBook's good I/O port selection. So you've got a USB-C port here, you've got two full-size USB Type-A ports, and then you've also got a full-size HDMI port, which is nice, plus a headphone jack, because apparently some laptops no longer include headphone jacks. So as far as I/O is concerned, it gets the same kind of marks as the original MagicBook did. Then there's the keyboard, which to me feels generally the same. It has the same kind of short travel distance, which I would have liked a little bit more travel, or I would have liked a little bit more tactile bump, but this feels essentially the same to me. The layout also looks the same. The only difference is, you know, you now have that selfie camera or the webcam built into the keyboard instead of on the screen. Unfortunately, that also means that the trackpad still doesn't feel great, and yeah, it uses Windows Precision drivers, but it's just the texture is not very great and it doesn't feel super accurate. So I would definitely still recommend using a mouse with this device. And despite like the new looks and the colors and stuff like that, the build quality still feels the same, where it's like, it feels sort of metally, but at the same time it still flexes near the keyboard deck, and you know, it has the same kind of texture that the old one did, which isn't to say bad, it just doesn't feel very premium like some of its more expensive siblings. Cousins? I guess cousins, right? Because they're from Huawei. But yeah, that's pretty much all that's different, all that's new, and all that remains the same with the Honor MagicBook 14. And that's a little bit disappointing, because the Honor MagicBook 14 is actually more expensive than the original Honor MagicBook. So the MagicBook 14 now comes in two configurations. You've got the base model with 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage. That is priced at 2,499 ringgit, while the top spec version has 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of internal storage, and that is priced at 2,999 ringgit. So to me, like that just doesn't make any sense, right? Yeah, you did make a couple of minor upgrades, but then to have the base model be 200 ringgit more expensive than the original Honor MagicBook, and then also lose half the storage, with like pretty much all the other internals remaining the same, and maybe like a 10% bump in terms of like looks, and for some reason the cameras in the keyboard, like it's a whole bunch of trade-offs. I don't even know if I generally like all the changes that they've made to this, but I definitely don't like the fact that this base model is now so much more expensive, 200 ringgit, and also it has half the storage. The old model, I really like that because it had a really good price point. So at the price point, like I tried to look for its competition online, and it was quite hard for me to find anything that was like the same price and it offered the same kind of strengths that the original MagicBook did. So that was one thing that it really had going for it. But then this one, it doesn't have that anymore. It's 200 ringgit more expensive and loses half the storage. Like, I know I've been saying this, but it doesn't make sense. And then also the top spec variant has 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of storage. Like, I would have liked just to keep the middle spec, you know, 8 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of storage, keep the price, just give me the new look. Like, come on, is that really so much to ask for? So if you ask me, like, I definitely think the old model was a better value device. It had a lot more going for it, I think, for that kind of price point. So I'm kind of disappointed that the new one not only didn't add anything super significant, but it also raised the price and dropped the performance per ringgit. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say with regards to the Honor MagicBook 14. Let me know what you think of the device in the comments below, and if again you want to know like my full thoughts on the Honor MagicBook, because it's so similar to the previous one, I would recommend that you read my review. I will also link it in the video description, so make sure you check that out. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this laptop. Do you have one? Do you have the previous one? What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments below. And yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click on the notification bell icon, and I will see you in the next video or on searchandchow.com, which is our home on the internet. Alright, I'm Rory. Bye.